So were you watching last night? Were you watching the Pope? In my opinion, that was the best 1 hour of television in history. Everything from the production to what it represented to what he said, it was just incredible. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to watch it. If you have seen it, you should watch it again. I've already seen it a few times. I love how it began, the Holy Father arriving in an empty piazza. And it wasn't just theatrics. That's how he always arrives in the piazza. What was different, though, is that we're all at home, so nobody was there. But he walked up the ramp like he always does for the Wednesday audience. But this time there was nobody around him. And when he got to the top, I loved how the Master of Ceremonies, Monsignor Marini, went to help him up the stairs. That shows his humility, right? So the Holy Father, he's in decent health, but he is old, fragile, and he needed help, just like we all need help. And then there was the reading, and then there was the Pope's meditation, and I don't have it in front of me, but I love how his meditation started, because he mentions from the gospel when evening came, and then he talks about how for weeks it's been evening, the darkness in the streets and in the piazzas, and it was just so poetic. And you should go read it, because I'm not doing it justice. And then after his meditation, how he walked over to an icon. Now that icon, that's something I get to show people every day in Rome. Well, not when I'm quarantined, but I get to take people to see that icon every day and tell the story behind it. And I'm not going to do that now, but I will say, as it pertains to this, that during a plague in the 6th century, that icon was processed through the streets of Rome by Pope Gregory the Great. And he eventually got to a point where he saw Saint Michael the Archangel, and Saint Michael was sheathing his sword. It was this apparition of the Archangel Michael, and that symbolized an end to the plague. And then the crucifix that was up there with the Holy Father, that's another church that I get to take people to and explain the story of that church. But this crucifix, I don't know how old it is, over 500 years old. The church it was in caught on fire. Everything was destroyed except for the crucifix, so they consider that a miracle. And then a few years later, there was another plague going through Rome. And so that crucifix was processed through the streets, and it actually went to all the neighborhoods of Rome. So it took many days, and then it finally arrived here, St. Peter's Basilica, and then not long after that, the plague ended. So that's why those two things were there, and that's why they were so important. What I love, though, was that, in the past, people processed an icon, or they processed crucifix. Pope Francis processed Jesus Christ in the Eucharist. It was a very short procession, just a couple steps, but so powerful. And then he did the benediction on the city. And you hear the bells now. Did you notice the bells last night during the benediction? When they rang, all the first responders turned on their sirens. So all the people in the front line were in choir with the bells, with their sirens, and that was so powerful. And then at the end of it all, the camera again cut to the crucifix. So the icon is about 2,000 years old. It was recently restored. It's been a year in the Vatican Restoration Labs, which is like right over there. And so that was protected. It was behind glass. They weren't going to let that get wet because it was raining. It was raining really hard. Like, I had my window open. It was raining pretty hard. The crucifix, wooden crucifix, hundreds of years old, was just out there in the rain. And you notice the camera goes up to the face of Christ, and the raindrops are just coming down his face as if they're tears, and they're dropping off his chin. And like I said, the whole thing was just incredible. It was amazing to watch. I truly believe that there will be people 5 to 10 years from now who will talk about their conversion stories, and it will come from watching what we saw last night in St. Peter's Square. So they were watching, and now they're going to start asking the questions that will lead them to the Catholic Church. I think that there are people, I know there are people, who were afraid, who felt hopeless with what's going on in the world, hopeless with what's going on in the church, and they saw that, and now they have hope. It was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So you need to watch it. You need to watch it multiple times. You need to read the Holy Father's meditation, and that's it. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay faithful, and go watch it. Go watch it now. It's on my website. Let's go to my website and watch it. Go somewhere and watch it. Talk to you soon.